very warm welcome to Market Matters. I'm Khoo, and of course this is Sulhi Azman. Max, another down day in the market today, down by 18 points, or that's 1.1%, just a shade off the 1,600 points mark. Quite a lot of shares, 2.2 billion shares, valued at about 2.2 billion ringgit. More blood on the dance floor.
Yeah, I mean, look at the markets have been doldrum, and you look at the digital performance, and now 1,600, that is just a shade of the psychological levels that we have seen sometimes last year.
Yeah, so decliners overwhelmed gainers, 846 downers, 165 gainers. According to TA Research, near-term sentiment is so poor because the oil prices just seem to keep collapsing day by day. West Texas at $26.5 a barrel, Brent $27.9 a barrel. The Chinese optimism that China would introduce more stimulus has fizzled out by and large, and all around the region, it was a down day, all in red.
Yeah, correct. And if you look at the regional market today, the Nikkei 35 was down by 2.4% to 16,017 points, while Hang Seng was down by 1.8% to 18,542 points. And if you look at the Affin-Hwang, they actually issued a strategy report today titled Decoupling, where they're saying that the relationship between the KLCI and the crude oil price, as well as the ringgit, has also weakened.
Yeah, they reckon it's actually not as bad as we think. They reckon the end 2016 KLCI target is 1,793 points. That's nearly 200 points from here. So either they're smoking something which I would like to have, or they know something that I don't. Let's move along to Hotstocks. Berjaya Corp Bhd is in focus. Now, they gained nearly 9% to 37 cents. That's a 3-cent advance. Second most active counter with about 70 million shares changing hands. They are doing more gambling businesses in Vietnam.
Yeah, correct. And they actually had, to put in Nadia's word, wanted to have a lot of Vietnamese beef suit. Anyway, they won, yesterday they announced that they won 18-year contract worth $210 million to operate number forecast operations in Vietnam. Basically, the investment will be funded through internal funds and also borrowings as well.
18-year contract, 211 million ringgit, in fact $211 million. They're going to launch with a Lotto Jackpot game by mid-2016, and then a digit game thereafter. Not a fingers digit, but a numbers digit. Now, they really do the Berjaya Sports Toto business in Malaysia. Huge money spinner for them, probably funds the whole Berjaya group. So this is very good news for Berjaya Corp.
Yeah, correct. And the stock today was actually quite actively traded as well. It was second the most active counters today with 69 million shares changing hands. And this would be, a good boost for them, because you talk about emerging markets, right? And Vietnam, I think, is also one of the stories that most companies want to penetrate into. Penetrate
is the right word for it, because it's a 19 million population, 3 times the size of Malaysia.
Correct.
GDP 6.5%. Only the way is up for the Vietnamese. And in terms of what the analysts think for Sports Toto Bhd, Alliance DBS as a whole call, target price 306 with 2% upside. That's not a lot. But that's on the Sports Toto side, not the Berjaya Corp side.
Correct.
And because of the different corporate structure, Berjaya Sports Toto may not feel a real impact because it only has a 10% effective stake in Corp.
Yeah, correct. And because of this, I think Alliance DBS is also advocating investors to go and buy into or look into Berjaya Sports Toto if they want to reap returns. Earnings-wise, for Berjaya Corp, net profit was down by 20% in the second quarter, while revenue was also down by 11.5%.
Okay, riveting stuff. So in case you forgot what I just said, Max, I'm going to bring it all home for you and summarize. Berjaya Corp have bagged an 18-year lottery business job in Vietnam worth $211 million. That's nearly $1 billion ringgit. Alliance DBS as a whole call, target price of 306 on the Berjaya Sports Toto, which is a 10% owner of Corp. It's also an 18-year exclusive contract in a country with a population of 90 million people and a GDP growth of 6.5%. Huge numbers there. Let's move along to stocks with momentum, and it's Spritzer Bhd, the Taiping-based water manufacturer and distributor. Now, they are pegged as positive momentum by the Edge Research, closed up nearly 1.5% or 3 cents at 238. Now, this is a stock that has climbed by 33% since early September, and currently trading, however, at a kind of undemanding PE of about 14 times earnings.
That's quite decent compared to other resilient food as well. Maybe quite undervalued, I don't know. And as you aptly said, it produces mineral waters, Spritzer, everybody knows the brand. And if you look at and they are sourcing these waters at some site in Taiping, Perak, right, with 330 acres of land.
Yeah, so their biggest management challenge is keeping the reservoir of water virgin-like, actually,
yes,
and undiluted. In terms of earnings, Q1 net profits up by 9% to 7.3 million ringgit. They said that they sold more bottles of water at better selling prices. And you know, when you look at it, they've got a pretty good track record from profit perspective, Max. 4 straight years of profit growth. But the thing is, the outlook has turned a bit murky because they warned the stock exchange and investors that because of the rising dollar and the falling ringgit, as well as the cooling economy, they think that the business environment has become a bit more dangerous and a bit more murky. But they reckon that with the use of automation and technology, and as well as with more marketing efforts, they're going to mitigate the potential slowdown.
Well, be that as it may, you know, I think the food and beverage counters are also quite resilient during the tough time, and they wanted to market more of their products, I suppose, going for export markets as well as the local market as well. And they're also trading at about 14 times earnings, so it's quite decent, as we said earlier.
Yeah. Exactly, but they also counter and say that, you know, water is an essential element in people's diets. If you don't drink water, you'll die. But, you know, it's of course it's also a question of choice because there are 1,000,001 water manufacturers out there, and you just have to choose the distributor. So again, in case you've forgotten what I just said, Max, I'm going to summarize it for you. It's pegged as positive momentum by the Edge Research, Spritzer. They warn that rising costs and a slowing economy might dampen business, but they're going to adopt more automation and marketing efforts to mitigate the slowdown.